So then I could go look at this article, which is selected young male adults. Again, I'm not a young male, so that's not really going to help me as much as it might help other people. So today is a self-care day. That's why I got all these pimple patches on my face, why my nails are halfway not done, and why my hair is in these protective Sealy braids. I know I'm about to put actual like box braids back into my hair, which means that I need to moisturize my hair before I do that. I'm pretty sure aloe vera does something for my hair, but I want to know what actually it does for my hair. So did a trusty old Google search. So I just Googled, is aloe good for hair? Research article. Because I know I can read a whole bunch of like people's opinions and stuff, but I'm trying to see like, what does the research say? So it's always going to come up with different things. I see this B12 folic acid. This looks like an article, not necessarily a research article, but an article itself. It might be helpful, but I want to read like the research. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. So the first thing I see, a comparative study, cool, of the effects of topical application, aloe vera on Wistar rats. I'm not a rat, so I could use this, but I don't want to use this. It also was published in 2012, so I don't think that's necessarily the best research paper for me to be able to use for my own hair. So let's keep looking, see what else I find. So now I see a close look at the blah, 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 blah. But I can't read the entire text of this one, so I'm not going to read that one. I want something where I can read the whole article if I need to. So preparation optimization, blah, blah, blah. Treatment of alopecia. Now I'm familiar, alopecia is like hair loss, and that specifically, as I know about it, is talking about humans. So at least just based on this title, I feel like I'm okay to get started reading the paper. I see that was published in 2022, so it's also really, really recent. And so I feel like whatever they found, there's probably the most up to date that I'm going to find here. So now I'm looking at these authors and I see a whole lot of Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia. I don't know if these are men, women, non-binary individuals, but I know that I see a whole lot of Saudi Arabia, which means that this research probably came out of Saudi Arabia. So I'm already going to be thinking about it questionably because I know that my hair texture is different than somebody who lives in Saudi Arabia. But people in Saudi Arabia have hair and I have hair, so I can at least get started doing this to find some kind of info. So then scrolling down, I'm going to just read the actual abstract. So alopecia areata, that's the one that I know of, is a human alopecia or a human hair loss. Skin disorder, scarless, localized hair loss, topical treatments further worsen the condition. Okay, so yeah, that confirms this alopecia is alopecia that I was talking about, so we're on the right track. I feel comfortable continuing to read the paper. Therefore, current study aimed to develop nanocubisomes. Okay, I'm not quite sure what those are, so I'm going to hold off on that, defining what that is, and see if the rest of the abstract defines what a nanocubisome is. Loaned with finasteride and oregano oil. I know finasteride is like an analog of like testosterone. I don't know exactly what it is. If I really am that interested in it, I hope the rest of the research paper will tell me exactly what the difference between testosterone and finasteride is, but I at least know it has something to do with testosterone. Oregano oil, all I know about oregano oil, if it's what I think, it's like the essential oil or the oil that comes out of an oregano plant. And I've heard oregano also does something for hair growth, but like, I don't know what, I have no idea what that's included for. Hopefully somewhere else in the paper, it explains why oregano oil is even included here at all. And these are gonna improve drug solubility. Okay, so I'm trying to increase how soluble a drug is, probably the solubility within the blood or within the body. And permeation through skin. Cool. So it's going to create more solubility and permeation through the skin. So apparently this is kind of some kind of topical thing if it's going to be going through the skin. So it sounds like I'm applying something topically. and loading it with these two things will improve its ability to be absorbed through the skin. And then incorporate it into an aloe ferox gel base. So, okay, I guess they got the thing that they needed, the finasteride and the oregano oil. They made some kind of nanocubisome of that, and then they put those nanocubisomes into an aloe ferox gel base. I don't know what an aloe ferox gel base is, but at least I'm further along the process. So then an L optimal coordinate exchange design was adopted. I don't know what an L optimal coordinate exchange design. If it matters, or I'm trying to repeat this study in the future, I hope that the methods will give a little bit more information about what this L optimal or coordinate exchange design is. But just for me trying to figure out if aloe vera is helpful for my hair growth, I don't need to know what that is. So I'm gonna just ignore that, but take note, if I care about it later, I'll come back to it. This was adopted to optimize nanocubisomes. So it sounds like that's what they use in order to create those nanocubisomes in the first place. So now it's phytontriol and alkyl acrylate were employed as the lipid material. So it sounds like there's two things they use, phytontriol and alkyl acrylate. I don't really care what either of those molecules are. Again, I just care about, is aloe going to make my hair grow or not? When is it going to help my hair absorb more moisture? So those two things were the lipid material. So apparently there need to be some lipid in this nanocubisome to happen. And then the surfactant, respectively, for cubisomes manufactured. I don't know why they included this word respectively. Again, I remember that this paper was coming out of Saudi Arabia, so I'm not even convinced that this paper was written in English. It might have been translated, and then this was just translated horribly. So I have no idea what that means, but it sounds like I need surfactant, I need the phytontriol, and I need alkyl acrylate to make the cubisome. The produced formulations were assessed for their particle size. Okay, so whatever cubisomes were made, they tried to figure out what size they were. The entrapment efficiency, so I'm assuming that's how much entrapment I think of as like getting trapped in something. And so I'm thinking of like permeation through the skin is like getting trapped inside the body. So I'm going to think of entrapment efficiency as like how much of it is actually getting absorbed into the body. FI, that FI acronym I know is this finasteride. So the finasteride steady state flux, and this JSS, I don't know what that is, but that's whatever unit they're using to measure the finasteride steady state flux. The steady state flux is probably how much finasteride stays in the body, like when it's active. I don't know. These are interpretations I'm making for myself. But if I need to, I can go and read the rest of the paper to figure out what they mean. And minimum inhibitory concentration. So I know just from other drug stuff, the MIC is how much of the drug is needed to prevent something happening 50% of the time. And so the thing that they're trying to prevent here, it looks like, is this propionobacterium acnes, or these pimple things that I've got on my head might be one of those. But this is seeing how much of that will prevent this acne from forming 50% of the time. So the optimal finasteride oregano oil, I have no idea what NCU is. So again, I'm going to just look back up and see anywhere in this passage, does it give the acronym NCU? I have no idea. I don't see it anywhere. But the closest thing that I know of that's also, I don't know what's going on, that has an N and a CU is this nanocubisomes. So I'm going to call this a finasteride oregano oil nanocubisome. Cool. So the optimal, or the best working nanocubisome that had finasteride and oregano oil in it had a particle size of 135 nanometers. Cool. So I know that that's the particle size that's the best. The EE, or the entrapment efficiency percentage, equals 70%. So that makes me think 70% of those molecules are actually passing through into the skin. The JSS, or the steady state flux, of one blah, 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 blah. Excuse me. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know what this is. This 2H. I know this is micrograms per centimeter. 2.H. I don't know what that. I don't know what that means. So whatever. Again, I don't really need to know all these details unless I'm trying to recreate this experiment. So this is just information for me to maybe use later. And minimum inhibitory concentration of 0.4 micrograms per milliliter. So optimum formulation loaded gel gained. So now it's describing what the actual optimum formulation actually did. So the optimum formulation loaded gel, cool. It gained the highest drug release percent. So that's what I'm thinking is that EE, or the entrapment efficiency, the highest drug release percent is what I'm thinking. And ex vivo skin permeation, cool, compared to finasteride aqueous suspension. So the difference, it's talking about compared. So I'm asking myself, like, what is it compared to? And the difference here is this aqueous suspension. So that makes me think back to this whole lipid situation. And so now that's the difference, is one is hydrophobic, one's hydrophilic, or one is aqueous, aka hydrophilic, one's lipid suspension, aka hydrophobic. And then the pure finasteride loaded gel. So that's just a gel with finasteride in it by itself. Aloe ferox and oregano oil in the optimized gel formulation had a synergistic. So both of these two things with the finasteride had a synergistic activity on the permeation across the skin. So it's sounding like adding the aloe and the oregano oil helped finasteride permeate the skin better or increased its entrapment efficiency. And it also hindered growth of this bacterium, the acne bacterium. And so both of those could favor in their use treating alopecia. So cool. It looks like here the focus was increasing how much finasteride gets in and reducing how much acne you're having. And so if my alopecia is related to acne or finasteroids, then I could say with confidence this article is going to help me figure it out. However, finasteride is, again, like I mentioned, testosterones, and I'm not about to do a whole lot of increasing of testosterone to get hair back. And I'm also not, I'm trying to focus specifically on something that's just aloe, not aloe with other things. So this is probably not the best article for me to read, for me to have my question answered. So let's go back and see what other articles there are. So that was this one. So now let's talk about the utilization of technology and development loaded with garlic. Okay, so now I see this finasteride thing again, but now I see garlic oil instead of oregano oil. That makes me think, okay, I guess garlic is probably doing the exact same thing that the oregano was doing previously. And now I'm going to scroll down and just see if anything, like just looking and briefly seeing what other words I mentioned here. So I see this bacteria for the infection and like the acne and stuff. I'm also seeing the gel loaded, and I'm seeing like antibacterial activity, MIC values. So it makes me think that that's similar around the same thing of the alopecia, and specifically finasteride, which is not so much what I'm interested in. So then I could go look at this article, which is selected young male adults. Again, I'm not a young male, so that's not really going to help me as much as it might help other people. And so from there, I want to narrow down my search so I'm no longer looking at things that include finasteride. So what I can do is just put minus finasteride in this Google search, and then it'll give me things that aren't talking about finasteroids. So now I think if I'm scrolling here, I'm not seeing any specific research ones, but I see real benefits according to experts. So this one I think might be promising to help me. The effect of aloe vera clinical trials on prevention. So this is talking about pain and recovery time, which makes me think this is like a burn or something, not just hair itself. So I don't want to use that one. So yeah, let's see if that one that I had found was promising. The real benefits of aloe vera for hair, according to experts. Medicinal, da 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 da. So whenever I see something that's linked and it's talking about this, I'm going to see if those are actual articles for me to be able to review. And conveniently, here we go. So this article was mentioned or was published in 2008, so it's a little bit old. but it's talking about a review of aloe vera. So this is exactly what I would like to be able to read in order to get myself where I want to go. So aloe vera, natural product, frequently used in cosmetology, various indications, controlled trials, its properties briefly reviewed. Cool. So I can go and read the whole article if I want to, blah, 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 blah. The compounds. So it's talking about what's in it, vitamins, enzymes, minerals, sugars, blah, 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 blah. So mechanisms of action. Let's see. I'm specifically talking about healing property, I guess, is what's making my hair not grow. So glucomannan, a polysaccharide. I know a polysaccharide is a carbohydrate molecule that's really long. And gibberellin, gibberellin sounds like gibberish, and that just makes me laugh. But it has nothing to do with anything else. Science is just really entertaining sometimes. A growth hormone interacts with growth factor on the fibroblast. I know fibroblast allows for more fibro cells to be made. I don't know what a fibro cell is, but like I know blast builds, clast cleaves or breaks down. So fibroblasts are building something. It stimulates this activity and proliferation, significantly increase collagen synthesis. I know collagen synthesis for my hair is really important. Collagen is like what helps my hair stay elastic and makes it like really bouncy and healthy and stuff. So collagen treatment, collagen synthesis is absolutely necessary and helpful. Topical oral aloe vera. Aloe not only increase collagen of the wound, changed collagen composition, and increase the degrees of collagen cross-linking. The collagen cross-linking is explicitly what creates all of this curliness that I see. And changing the collagen composition to have more type 3. I don't know the differences between the types of collagen, but it sounds like if there's making more type 3 collagen, that's going to be a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. And then to confirm what I'm thinking, it says due to this, accelerated wound contraction, increased breaking strength of resulting scar tissue. So basically what that's saying is it's made it more tensile, more strong. It's not going to break when you just like have the scar tissue and you're rubbing around the scar tissue. And an increased synthesis of hyaluronic acid, dermatan sulfate in the granulation tissue of a healing wound has been reported. So this is also saying I know that some of the other things that help with healing wounds are increased by the topical treatment of aloe vera. So for that alone, it has something to help with wound healing. And my scalp be having a whole lot of scars. So that alone lets me be thinking, okay, this might be helpful for me. Like even as I sit here right now, like part of my scalp is inflamed and I have no idea why. So number 2, skin exposure to UV gamma radiation. Aloe vera gel protects against radiation damage to the skin. Cool. Following administration, antioxidants, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. So if I want to talk about wound repair and stuff, I can go and like read all of those things in specific, but all I'm really focusing on is that it is helping prevent radiation damage because of UV. And it also prevents induced suppression of delayed, blah, blah, blah. And that is a whole lot of backwards. Prevents induced suppression. So it keeps UV induced suppression. So UV will suppress type 4 hypersensitivity, and this prevents UV from suppressing that. Golly, that's a lot of words. Anti-inflammatory action. Okay, so the anti-inflammatoriness is absolutely going to help me. The prostaglandin E2 production from arachidonic acid. So again, going back to that whole like wound healing thing, that's another step in the wound healing thing that I'm embracing as something that is going to be helpful for aloe vera working for me. Alpergen, blah, 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 blah. Molecular compounds. I don't know. I don't care. The effects on the immune system is not necessarily what I care so much about. I know that it does anti-inflammation, and the way my scalp is hot right now, I need anti-inflammation. It might help other things with the immune system, but I know I need that anti-inflammation. Laxatives don't care about a laxative effect. I'm not about to eat this. Antiviral, anti-tumor activity. I hope I don't have any tumors on my scalp. I wouldn't be able to know, but that's also not why I'm putting aloe vera on my scalp, is because of tumors. But antivirals, yeah, because I do randomly get like dandruff sometimes, and I'll also just like irritation of my scalp, might be because I got a whole bunch of viruses or something up there. So what this allows is it to prevent that from happening. So, okay, cool. More antiviral, moisturizing, anti-aging. So I know moisturizing, moisture is, the whole point of being here is, does aloe vera help moisturize my hair? And here I see moisturizing effect. So for sure, mucopolysaccharides help binding moisture into the skin. Bet. Aloe stimulates fibroblast, produces collagen and elastin, making skin more elastic, less wrinkled. Cool. Fibroblasts. Ooh, it's stimulating this fibroblast thing again, and that's going to do back to this whole stretching my hair and making it curlier. And it's going to make a similar thing with my skin. So I could put aloe mask on my skin if I wanted to. Cohesive effects on superficial flaking epidermal cells by sticking them together, which softens the skin. It also has and here I go, reading a sentence multiple times and not knowing what I just read. It also has cohesive effects on superficial flaking. Pause. So cohesive, so it'll allow for cohesion, or like the two things to stick together. So, and then it's redundant because it says by sticking them together. That's annoying. So the flaking epidermal cells. So the epidermal cells that are flaking off, it allows them to stick to one another, and them sticking to each other softens the skin. Cool. It also softens hardened skin cells in zinc. It softens hardened skin cells, period. Zinc acts as an astringent to tighten pores. I am assuming zinc is now somehow in aloe, but I could also potentially just have zinc on its own and do the same thing. It tightens the pores up. Moisturizing effects, treatment of dry skin, occupational exposure, gloves, integrity, decrease of fine wrinkles, decrease erythema. I for sure need this decrease in erythema and anti-acne effect. So I'm absolutely about to use this on my scalp. It sounds like I've got enough to help with this heat that I'm feeling in the middle of my scalp from like the irritation. And it also is going to help with moisturizing both these ends and these roots. And I have all of the info to validate what I'm thinking. Clinical use, oh, antiseptic. So it also is going to get rid, they all have inhibitory action on fungi, bacteria, and viruses. So again, going back to that, I probably got some viruses that could be killed, and that's probably leading to some of this irritation on my skin. Having an antiseptic, or it cleanses or kills some of that, is also going to help out. So then the use based on tradition and theory, there's a lot of reasons that you could do it. There's a lot of conditions that it can treat. I don't really care about none of that. The side effects, topical. So cool. Aloe in and of itself might cause redness, burning, and stinging. Cool. In sensitive individuals. Thankfully, I know I have sensitive skin, but my skin is not so sensitive that aloe vera breaks it out. It is a little bit of other stuff. And if I have an allergic reaction, my skin is not often reacting to anthraquinones. I have done so much assessment of like what my skin actually reacts to, because I had really bad eczema for a while. And so I know anthraquinones are not so much the issue here. Lanolin is really the big thing that my skin reacts to. So I'm not going to be as concerned that this is going to be bad for me. But again, try to a small area first. I already know aloe vera is not about to cause me an allergic reaction most of the time. I'm not about to eat orally, so I don't care. Contraindication, I don't have any known allergies to those plants. I'm not pregnant, not breastfeeding, and it can increase absorption of other stuff. Blah, 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 blah. And this is interesting because this is going back to that other article that I was reading that was not helpful for me, because it was talking about testosterone, but hydrocortisone is another steroid hormone that is going to be absorbed through the skin. And it looks as though using aloe also helps absorb more hydrocortisone in addition to finasteride, which are both steroid hormones. Thus, though aloe vera has a wide spectrum, some can be myths, some of them could be real magic. Okay. In future controlled studies, da, 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 da. So this is just showing, okay, here's some of the stuff that we hypothesize could be good, and this is what we know about it, but we can't say that this is direct causation. These could just be correlations. So more research is needed to be able to figure out what the actual answer is. So am I about to use aloe vera in my hair? Absolutely. Thanks for watching.